Greetings from Columbia Business School Executive Education. I'm Denys Kapush, Senior Associate Director, Digital Marketing, and I'm delighted to be here today with Professor Miklos Sarvary and Professor Kinshuk Jerath for today's webinar on emerging trends in digital marketing. And before I introduce our professors, I'd like to go over a few quick logistics. First of all, a recording of this webinar will be sent to you via email later today. If you have any questions during the webinar, please submit them using the Q&A box in Zoom. We'll get to as many questions as possible in the last 10 minutes. And finally, follow us on LinkedIn for the latest business news and updates by searching Columbia Business School Executive Education. Please welcome Miklos Sarvary. He is the Carson Professor of Business and the faculty lead for the Media and Technology program here at Columbia Business School. His broad research agenda focuses on media and information marketing. Miklos's most recent research papers study ad blocking, online marketplace design, and content bundling on social media. Previously, he worked on the user-generated content, online mobile advertising, media, and telecommunications competition. He's a member of the editorial board of Marketing Science, Quantitative Marketing and Economics, International Journal of Research and Marketing, and Journal of Interactive Marketing. Prior to joining Columbia, Miklos was the Deputy Dean for Executive Development Programs at INSEAD. He has taught executive courses and consulted in various parts of the world for large corporations, including IBM, Intel, Nokia, Alcatel, Samsung, Pearson, McKinsey, and more. Before joining INSEAD, Miklos was also a faculty member at Harvard Business School and the Graduate School of Business at Stanford University. Miklos, thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Please welcome Kinshuk Jerath. He is the Arthur F. Burns Chair of Free and Competitive Enterprise, Professor of Business, and Chair of the Marketing Division here at Columbia Business School. His research is in technology-enabled marketing, primarily in online advertising, online and offline retailing, Salesforce, and customer management. Kinshuk is an associate editor at Journal of Marketing Research, Management Science, Quantitative Marketing and Economics, and Journal of Retailing. Additionally, he's a senior editor at Production and Operations Management, and he serves on the editorial board of several other top-tier journals, including the Marketing Science. He has been nominated by the Marketing Science Institute as a Young Scholar in 2013, and as a scholar in 2018, he has received research award grants from Amazon, Google, Adobe, and other companies. Kinshuk has consulted for Fortune 500 companies, has served as an expert in several high-profile legal cases, and sits on the advisory board of multiple startups. Kinshuk, thank you for joining us. And without further ado, let's dive right into the world of emerging trends in digital marketing with Kinshuk Jerath and Miklos Sarvary. Now over to you.
Hello, everybody. This is Kinshuk Jerath. Great to be here today. Thank you to all of you for joining. And Miklos and I are very excited about discussing some of the emerging trends in digital marketing with you, which actually have AI written all over them for the last 1 or 2 years, especially. So Miklos, looking forward to this conversation with you. Let me kick us off, and Miklos and I will go for about 20 minutes, and then we'll leave some time for questions as well. And so looking forward to interacting with all of you in that manner. So let me actually dive right into it and talk about the first thing that I think is on everybody's minds in digital marketing in today's world, which is generative AI, right? So we've been using AI for a long time in digital marketing, right? You can call statistics as AI. We've been using it for all kinds of things, including measurement and optimization. What generative AI has done is really added a new dimension to all of this, right? Because what we can do now is, in fact, generate content. So you might be kind of surprised, or maybe some of you won't be surprised to learn that you are exposed to all these ads, right? Digital display ads and search ads and other kinds of ads. these actually about 30 to 40% of these ads are almost purely generated using generative AI now. So that's kind of a mind-boggling statistic, because 2 years back that was much smaller, and really it is the LLMs like Chat GPT and many others now, many specialized LLMs have come, which are doing this, right? So what this does is really, help to generate very specific personalized content, right? And even these ad copies can be targeted. It's not just the ads are targeted, but the ad copies themselves are targeted. What is also done is, something that may not appear a trend that's important, but is not evident right away, is that what is also done is enabled a lot of ad content to come up there. And in fact, that there's some studies already that are showing that because more people are now able to show ads and more targeted ads, that has already started affecting the pricing of ads. So they've gone even more expensive because of generative AI, right? So on the one hand, it's great, we can show more ads. On the other hand, you got to pay more for them. So this is one of the many things that we'll be discussing in the program that we are planning to offer in a few weeks. Another maybe one thing I can talk about in generative AI is interact any kind of interactive services, right? So think about chatbots, and again, chatbots have started have improved a lot in the last let's say 2 years. Before that, they were pretty clunky. I think many of them are still clunky, so there's a lot of lot of space to expand there. But what that has really done is that, again, have very personalized chat in real time. And I think Miklos can also talk to you about an example from Alibaba, in which chat has been personalized not just in terms of content, but also using translation techniques and having talking to people in their preferred dialect, even not just their preferred language, but their preferred dialect. Miklos, do you want to take over and talk about that and a little bit about your research also that you've done in generative AI?
Yes. So as Kinshuk says, like the big breaks, or the low-hanging fruit was these chat services that people immediately started adopting. And indeed, there have been very big increases in productivity. And as Kinshuk said, not just in terms of creating automated chat, but also whenever a human is being used for, say, customer support, which is a little bit more involved. So, an automated chat service, an AI-driven chat service might not do it. But it was still a problem if you were selling internationally. You had to have people talking in these multiple countries and being hired in these multiple countries to interact with consumers. In some cases, this was actually quite expensive because, labor is way more expensive in the Western world than in some of the developing countries. But with advanced AI, the translation services have become so good that real people can be employed in a low labor cost country and serve really high labor cost people. And the local customers cannot really distinguish these people from a local because of the efficiency of the translation system. So there is really a productivity gain in terms of labor costs. Another thing that Kinshuk has already mentioned was with respect to advertising. And here, what is interesting is that, already before we have created synthetic ads, essentially computer-generated images or modifications of pictures, and we try to A/B test these to particular segments. But what is new now is that we can really hyper-customize this, and we can generate a specific ad for every single viewer. And the input for these specific ads can be, for example, the purchase history of this person, or the web tracking history, the kind of first-hand data or second-hand data, whatever you have on this person. That can be an input to generate these ads. So really the level of customization has become like incredibly, incredibly detailed. And there is pretty good evidence that the response rates are actually higher to these ultra customized, context-driven advertising And that is why, the price of advertising has also gone up. It creates more value. And finally, Kinshuk referred to some of my research. One of the shocking things that you can do now is that you can do actually market research with generative AI. So instead of running surveys with people, which for a complicated piece of market research like conjoint analysis or perceptual mapping can cost, in the vicinity of a few $100,000, $500,000, that's not something that is negligible. And also it takes quite a lot of time. Instead of that, you can actually simulate people by running prompts multiple times and getting answers and then tabulating these answers as if they were subjects you were asking about, because the statistical distribution of these answers is going to mimic the statistical distribution of real people. That's the whole point of generative AI. And one of the things that we have shown is that even for more complicated market research tools, where you're trying to not just ask people a direct question, but trying to deduce something from their answers that they would have a hard time articulating, like, for example, what is their preference for a brand, or how do they perceive a brand? That's very hard to articulate, but you can deduct it from their more elementary answers, and in this way incredibly increase the productivity of market research itself. So generative AI is really a game changer, and we can do more things, we can do them more cheaply, and it turns out that these things that we do are actually more efficient. So it's really quite a big revolution for marketing.
Yeah, let me also, take a step back and say that some fundamentals have not changed, right? We still want to acquire customers and retain customers. So the way Miklos and I think about it is that you have to place all of these new tools into these things where humans haven't changed, and the process of acquiring us, I mean, has certainly has or influencing people hasn't changed in 2 years, right? But the tools have changed, so that actually makes us a very, very interesting time to be in digital marketing and I guess learn more about digital marketing. So one interesting thing about from generative AI is real-time branding. So if you think of branding, let's think of video, right? The standard paradigm was that an advertiser would go to an agency. The agency would take like maybe 4 or 5 months, 6 months to come up with a campaign idea and execute on that campaign idea, like develop some assets, and then they're rolled out. And that sort of almost linear process has been, and kind of long process that takes a long period of time, has been the branding paradigm. What's really interesting also with generative AI is that you can already now you can say that, okay, let me do some social listening and crawl some data and see these are the trends that are going on in real time, and these trends connect with my brand sort of closely. This is how I can connect my brand to these trends, and even generate video on the fly. And so so it's completely almost like agile branding, right? You think of agile everything, and now we have agile branding also, which I think is a very, very interesting phenomenon. That how do you in real time catch on to trends in society and immediately connect your brand to that, rather than 6 months later, right? Either it was 6 months later, or you had to pay a whole lot, or you had to sort of compromise on the quality. And now all of that, we really move the frontier and mass forward. So that obviously going back to acquisition and retention, right? You do the branding, you do the performance marketing, you acquire, and then we're already talking about sort of interactive services and chatbots and emails for retention. So that is also, we will sort of help. We can think of placing all of these new tools in time-tested frameworks. Yeah.
Very good point, actually. Now, one of the other things that is going on, I mean, obviously AI is topping everything, but there are other big changes in digital marketing, and one of the phenomena that has kept us excited, the two of us, in this place was retail marketing. So retail marketing, like 5 years ago, Kinshuk, you know the numbers better, it was tiny, maybe $1 billion, something like that, but really in the single digits. And now retail marketing is huge. It's tens of billions of dollars, and it keeps increasing like crazy. And what is the idea? The idea is that if you have an online retail service that people visit for whatever reason, maybe they want to shop on your online retail service, or they have just like somehow were sent there by a search engine or something, they land there. The fact that they are there, you can monetize that with advertising. And that doesn't necessarily have to be advertising the products that are on that retail service. It can be selling advertising space on your retail platform for other products, essentially becoming a medium for advertising. And this was sort of, it got started really by Amazon, which is a general purpose retailer. So it was not that committed to one single product category. But now other retailers have also realized that this is possible. And this additional medium, if you wish, has grown huge. In fact, if you are a digital marketer, it's very difficult to say that you're not going to be using this medium as an opportunity to push your products. You are going to be losing out on something, and certainly your competitors might be using retail marketing. So this phenomenon is actually quite interesting. It has two implications. One is if you have got a retail platform that is very successful in terms of generating traffic, then you can monetize that by selling third-party advertising. But the other one is that if you are interested in pushing a product through your digital marketing strategy, in your marketing mix, you actually have to budget for these retail marketing products, and you have to figure out which are the platforms where you are going to be advertising and how you are going to execute that.
Yeah. So let me, Miklos also already said that, but I want to just highlight that think of generative AI as a new tool, and think of retail marketing and retail media, or it's called commerce media sometimes. Think of that as a new channel, right? That has opened up in the last few years, and is growing very fast. Also really highlights the role of data in digital marketing, right? So why is retail media so sort of fruitful or so useful as a channel? Well, one reason obviously is, again, going back to our time-tested frameworks of marketing funnel and customer journey. It appears lower in the funnel generally, right? So you're already at the website, you're already interested as a consumer, you want to buy, and boom, that is the time you get to see the ad. So that kind of, at least until now, retail media has been like that. And then why do you have to pay the retailer as an advertiser? Why do you have to, does the retailer make so much money from retail media? Because they have all the data. And also it's first party data typically. So privacy concerns are much lesser, right? So many trends pushing us towards retail media. And again, Amazon has really shown sort of a proof of concept, or let's say much more than a proof of concept, at $40 billion a year. But others want to catch up. And sort of one thing that is very important to understand is that up until now, retail media has been offline, online, right? But if you think of Walmart and many other, or think of the e-commerce, or sorry, not e-commerce, but retail industry in general, only about less than 20% is still online. So the 80% is still untapped pretty much, which is in-store retail media or in-store advertising, which is also getting a boost in technology. And I just a few minutes back mentioned that retail media is more down funnel. Actually, if you're doing in-store retail media, that becomes up funnel, and branding opportunities also arise, right? So that is also becoming almost like a full funnel channel, and companies like Walmart and many others are actually really at this time developing offerings and experimenting with a lot of things about how do we actually make this a full funnel channel and connect it are we able to connect customer journeys offline and online. And I think that's also makes it very, very interesting. And also the other thing here is about non-endemic products, right? So you go to a Walmart and you might get an ad for, let's say, a car, right, in store, or even insurance, which they don't really sell. So it's not just monetizing your own network or your own products, but also realizing that, well, people might, somebody might be willing to pay a lot more about products that are you don't even sell. And then this obviously becomes an important channel for advertisers, like let's say a car company advertising on the Walmart website or the Amazon website, which you probably wouldn't have thought of a few years back, but now this is the reality. Yeah. So I think another thing that maybe we can spend 2 or 3 minutes talking about would be the creator economy and also live streaming. So live streaming and creator economy, they've been pretty big in Asia for a long time now. But in the US, they're still much smaller, but becoming more and more real. Like Walmart now, again, I keep talking about Walmart because I think it's one of those companies that's doing a lot of interesting stuff here. But Walmart has a partnership with TikTok. Well, we'll see what happens to TikTok in a few months. But at this time, the partnership is there. But if not TikTok, I guess they'll go to Facebook Reels or Instagram. So, in a creator economy is again comes back to branding and digital advertising. So why are we talking about branding? Because digital marketing, digital advertising has been a little bit more lower funnel, and the upper funnel branding part has not really been cracked properly. People haven't come up with very good solutions. The experience is not that great. But again, with creators and with generative AI, we can actually start doing up funnel digital marketing, right? So I mean, this will actually, if you do branding better online, you'll also be able to do performance marketing better, because branding is always has that positive complementarity with that. So on the point of creator economy and AI, Miklos, do you want to talk about one of your favorite topics of AI influencers?
Oh yes, absolutely. And this brings us back to AI as we started. I mean, like already 5, 6 years ago, you had digital influencers. So essentially, robots, if you wish, being ran by an agency, for example. I mean, with influencers, it has always been the problem that they are a little bit loose. You kind of confine your product to them, but you don't know what they want to do and you don't have control over them. While with digital influencers, you have no problem, no such problem. Like you can completely control their lives and their appearance and their behavior and everything that you want. And it's just mind-boggling how with generative AI, again, in the last year or 2 years, all these social media networks, to social media surfaces have been invaded by essentially robots that you cannot really distinguish anymore from real people. So again, like this is quite interesting. This, you might think about working with influencers. This is again another channel that you have to definitely consider today. And how do you want to exploit this technological opportunity is, of course, a very interesting topic and very new topic that you need to worry about. So I think there is plenty of other stuff we could talk here for another day. We are very excited by these topics and new things, but we would like to give you the opportunity to ask some questions. We don't have a lot of time, but hopefully we can answer a few.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Miklos and Kinshuk. It was a great discussion about the impact of generative AI in digital marketing, retail marketing, and you also touched on the creator economy. Exciting times in digital marketing, and we'll see where it takes us. We had some great questions coming in, so let's get started with that. We'll try to answer as many of those as possible in the next 5 minutes or so. And the first question is, can you share what trends you see in AI search optimization, SEO, and ChatGPT? Do you think you'll see new job titles created in the next few years? Miklos, what do you think?
So that's already the case. I mean, I think that one of the buzzwords that you hear all the time is prompt engineering. And this is a real thing. So you can create a variety of different contents now with generative AI. So not just text, but also long form stuff, short form stuff, and this can be audio, video, or text, or even software actually. So any kind of digitizable content you can create with generative AI. And of course, the question is, are you creating the right thing? And here, prompt engineering, how do you prompt the system to come up with the right thing? Is an expertise that has got a couple of rules and a couple of wisdoms that you can learn, and you can build experience in doing that. So prompt engineering, for example, is one of those activities that is emerging, and building expertise in that is something that is actually very, very valuable. Kinshuk, want to add something?
I think that, I mean, as I said, this is already happening, and even in SEO, I think that's so SEO is all about content, right? So the way I think of SEO is two things, right? One, you got to tell the search engine what you're about. So that means content and good website design, so the whole website, not just a web page, but the good design of the website. And the second is you got to convince the search engine that you're good, right? You're a good source. So that happens through backlinks. Think of that, the random surfer page rank algorithm. So now generative AI is, I mean, what it can help you with is content, right? And so absolutely, I think that that's sort of very important and a very important tool that you can use. Now, one of the challenges is that generally speaking, with content, we can run A/B tests, right? And in SEO, the process is sort of slower because search engines respond very slower to it, much slower to it. And so A/B testing becomes very difficult. You can't like the feedback is not that quick. It's not that fast, right? So that is, I think, the big challenge there. But I think one way that can still be resolved is that we create sort of use that, right? Use generative AI it to generate content, but really to influence the quality dimension or the backlinks, which is that if you generate good content with generative AI as one tool, and then you A/B test it and you push out the content that's good, people will start backlinking to your content, right? So, and that is going to push you up in the search engine rankings because that's one of the strongest indicators for a search engine, right? So, almost a counterintuitive answer, right? We think of SEO as generating content for us and search engines crawling our websites, but what I'm saying is, is that generate smaller pieces of content and make it so good that other websites link to yours, and that might actually be the way to crack SEO in the short run using generative AI.
Thank you, Kinshuk and Miklos. Great answer. And I already see it also happening in the digital marketing world. A lot of people are mastering the prompting and taking advantage of advanced prompting. The next question we have is a more broader question. And how can our organization plan a strategic roadmap to use generative AI, given that it's always changing? Kinshuk, do you want to?
Okay, so this is actually a very good.
Go
Let
ahead,
me
Miklos.
answer this, and then I hand it over to Kinshuk, because
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
a wonderful question. We are towards the end of the session, and this is a perfect question to ask. I mean, that is really what the course that we are doing together with Kinshuk that is answering. Because every day, since we have been doing digital marketing for, I don't know, Kinshuk is younger than me, so he did it for 10 years, 15 years, but I have been at it for like a really long time. And every year or every other year there is some major change. And I was brought into marketing when Google was just an afterthought, and today we cannot imagine the world without it. But so you have this changing world where technology changes so fast and has such dramatic impact on what we do and what people see. But Kinshuk has mentioned before that human psychology doesn't change. So we have been engineered to behave in certain ways, to choose products in certain ways, to pay for them in certain ways. And at the end of the day, you have to cater to that human psychology. And There is a framework, and this is what we teach, essentially, this framework of how to think about digital marketing. And this framework allows you to put every tool into this framework, the existing ones as well as the ones that will be coming in the future. So this is what we believe is the biggest value of the course. It's not necessarily telling you what is new, because that is going to be outdated like a month later, but how to put new things into a framework that is going to make digital marketing work for you. And I think this is the real value that our course is creating.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're sort of out of time, but I'll just say pretty much exactly the same thing, that things change a lot, but tools can change a lot, but fundamental ideas and concepts would not change. So that is why Miklos and I were talking about the acquisition and retention framework for customer management. Within acquisition, think of the acquisition funnel, right? So we'll spend a lot of time on that and tying that to the customer journey. And then also, I would say that we'll spend a lot of time in measurement, right? That how do you do proper testing? A/B testing sounds simple, but can be, quite conceptually. Sometimes you have to keep in mind several things. Attribution, using the outcome of A/B testing and attribution to then optimize, to design a campaign, and how to optimize a campaign sort of as it is going on, right? Which is another important thing. And not to forget that about 25% of marketing spend is still actually traditional marketing spend. So how to use that in the best possible way along with digital. And I see one question is that, oh, all marketing is now digital, so why do you need digital in the title? And I sort of agree with that. But let's not forget that, at least a fourth of marketing is still traditional channels. So how do you best use all of these channels and come up with a cohesive strategy, which is the latest, that uses the timeless frameworks, but also deploys the latest tools like generative AI and others.
Thank you so much, Kinshuk and Miklos. It was an amazing discussion, and we don't have any more time for questions, but feel free to email them to us. We'll try to answer them for you. And we're looking forward to our new program, AI-driven marketing strategy, leveraging new technology to cultivating enduring customer relationship, taking place this November 12 to 15 in person on our Manhattanville campus in New York City. And we invite you all to join us. The AI-driven marketing strategy is a 4-day executive education program designed for mid to upper level executives. Our participants will learn to navigate the new marketing ecosystem, integrate the latest technological innovations like generative AI and emerging MarTech, and to build adaptable marketing strategies to cultivate enduring customer relationships. Please be on the lookout for the webinar recording and the program information in your email. And on the behalf of Columbia Business School Executive Education, we'd like to thank you for joining us today, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.